kind of sucked the life out of me. I wanted to I'm gonna go back in our text and delete those messages. Be like, I don't feel revived by the pod today. The stardom. No, I'm kidding. But the stardom episode was hard. Let's do a religion one.
Girl, I'm confused. Yeah, me too. Wait, let's ask chat.
Are you religious? How often do you pray? Do you believe in the rocking?
Believe in what? Oh, the rocking.
No, but that's like a weird thing because I'm like, that's weird that just happened and no one ever pointed it out. Like, we were never like, is she okay?
I think the rocking is to like symbolize that you are one with the earth that is always rotating.
It is like, I get it. Do you know what like Darwish are? The Darwish? The people that spin, the spinners. There's like I don't know if it's a sect of like Muslim religion or whatever, but there's like people, my dad is like obsessed with them, but they're called the Darwish, something like that. And they just like spin. Like they just like spin and it's like a spiritual practice. They just like spin.
Wait, spin on like just spin around, or are they spinning on something like on stilts, or are they on a unicycle?
No, they're just like spinning in a circle. They wear like these outfits and they just spin and spin and spin, and it's supposed to be like a spiritual thing. So I get what you're saying with the rocking. It is like kind of like it calms you down and you're like I could do the spinning for sure. I can be like, spin me in the chair until I pass out. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like going to the mosque is a little overwhelming. And then everyone's like, I don't know, maybe I just don't like meeting people that are super, like whenever I meet like people that are just assume that I'm like super Muslim and stuff, and then they start like pushing that stuff on me, my immediate reaction is to like be annoyed.
Why?
I don't know. But like one of the guys that I work with, which this can't be included in a recorded thing, my parents are annoying. They didn't raise us super. I mean, did you guys celebrate everything like Eid and everything? Your mom's not even Muslim. Wait, she is. I always
was
converted. Yeah,
she did. She converted when I was like 16 or 17. But before that, we were fasting. We were going to the mosque, especially when my Nana lived right next to us. So we did everything. And I even went to Sunday school at the mosque.
Dude, I took one of the classes there, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, everything is so, like, harsh and depressing. So me and my sister took a class, and they were teaching us like, we were just reading the Quran or whatever. And in the class, they're teaching us about, like, they tell us some super sad story where this guy, his mom's blind, and he goes to school, and everyone mocks her for being blind, and he's like, I hate you because you're blind and everyone makes fun of you and I hate you, you're so embarrassing. And then like it turns out his mom like gave him her eye. She like died or something. And me and my sister were like, why can't you teach the lesson in a way that isn't like, that's why you should never be mean to your parents, you don't know what they're doing. Like, can't you just say it in a positive way? Why does it have to be like it's literally that thing that would be, you know, that story that would like pass around with the guy and where it was like, who gave you the heart, and it was like the guy, the boyfriend or whatever. You don't remember that? God, someone has to know what I'm talking about. It's like a chronically online thing, but there's a story that would pass around where it was like, I forgot the thing, but it was just like, she thought the guy didn't love her because he like wouldn't, she was like, are you, I don't know, something, but she was going to surgery, and then she wakes up and she's like, where is he? And then she's sad, and it's like, who do you think gave you the heart? And anyways, yeah, going to school was like, the only good part was like, they'd give us nacho cheese nachos, and me and my sister would always be like waiting for the nachos.
You got fed?
Not through the mosque. Did you ever, wait, okay, what Sunday school did you take? And also, did you ever go to the iftar at that mosque?
Yes, all the time, actually.
Savage as fuck. Elbow you to grab their bread.
Biryani was so good.
Okay, but like I'd rather have it at home than like literally getting pummeled. It would me and my sister would always go and be like, okay, we get that everyone's fasting, but like don't fight. Like we're supposed to be in this spiritual, peaceful place, and people are like, no, that's
No, actually it was intense. Like genuinely. But I went to the Sunday school where I was learning Arabic.
Oh,
Know how to write and everything. I don't remember anything.
I was gonna say, and do you know how to speak Arabic? Like, look at me now. It didn't work. No, it was fun though, like going to the classes and stuff. But I don't know. It was just like I don't know. Wait, so that is I do remember 16, 17. You were in high school. So cuz I remember there were days where you'd like drive to my house in the morning and we'd like eat together or whatever, right? We had to do those were fun.
You honestly. Oh,
That was really fun. So, but your whole family was Muslim then. For some reason, I never, it like takes me time to remember because I know your Nana is Muslim, but then your mom is not. But I always, can't believe at some point she was, and then she converted. Was that weird for you when it happened, or was it like natural?
no, it wasn't natural at all.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, there were so many things that happened in that like
Yeah.
week that it all just very like what the actual F. So
Mhm.
we're we were living in that house on Maumelle,
Yeah.
and I had a stepdad, and then basically my mom was like, "Oh, I'm divorcing your stepdad," and we were like, "Okay,"
What
and then
was
she
his
was like,
name?
"Kevin,"
Okay.
and then she was like, "Also, I am Christian now," and we were like, "Okay." And then she was like, "And there's this new guy that I'm dating, and he's gonna be over all the time." And all of that happened within that like week or so, and I was just like, "No, that's not okay." Like it was too many things all at the same time, and he was a Christian. So I was like, "Oh, he converted her. My mom doesn't know what she actually wants, but just because this new guy is here." And then it was just basically like trauma after trauma after trauma in 1 week, and I had to process it and pretend like everything was okay. And she would force me to go to church.
Really? You started going to church?
I had to. She knew, like, when I worked at Domino's and my mom knew I loved Domino's, she would tell me, like, if you don't go to church today, you can't go to work. And I'm gonna call them and tell them that you can't come in today.
Dominoes. You were like having the time of your life there.
I was. That was the highlight of my high school experience.
Oh, work was such a cool. Dang, that's like crazy. I did not know you were going to church. I mean, I had a friend that did the same. You know, tried to force me to go to church, tried to force me to convert, but she wasn't strong enough, and Jesus will never forgive her. Get that out. I'm sorry. No, it is insane. Like, I don't like that Christianity is so like conversion camp vibes.
Very much so. There was one time when I was in ninth grade, and I went to see one of my friends. We went to two different high schools, but I knew her in middle school, and she was going to, it's because she went to like a private, like a Christian school, and she was in a play. So I went to the play, and this old lady was like, "Oh, like blah blah blah." I was like, "Yeah, I'm here to see my friend Jessie," and she was like, "Oh, and you're Christian?" I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm Muslim." And she was like, "Oh, well, sweetie, like you might want to think about that because you want to go where we're going."
It's crazy.
Isn't that telling a 14-year-old girl she's going to hell because she's not the same religion as you is insane.
I just feel like I'm like feel so strangely towards religion because I feel like I'm a very like spiritual like person. Like I feel very connected to God and like all of that on a day-to-day basis. But then when I think about especially when it comes to dating cuz I like never really like last year was the first year where I was like, "Oh, I should start thinking about dating seriously. Like I actually genuinely have to marry someone one day." And I started like actually thinking about it. And I'm like, it's crazy that I never. It like scares me when I think about stuff like that because I'm like, yeah, religion's a factor when you date. Like, if you date someone who's Christian and they like want to be with someone Christian, it could create an issue. And then also like if you want to have a family, like if you want to have kids and there's no basis of religion, it is kind of like strange. And then I'm like, would I raise them Muslim? I definitely wouldn't raise them Christian. But like, if neither of us have like a strong like spiritual basis, then like how do you raise your kids? Like I'm not gonna raise them off like the universe, you know what I mean? Like that's just they're gonna be freaks. Like or maybe not, I don't know, but that it's just so weird to think about. And like me and Roya talked about that too, because I was asking her, I'm like, are you Muslim? She's like, I don't really consider myself Muslim. But I don't know, it just feels weird because I'm like, I don't feel that connect. I'm like a very like I could see myself like ditching everything in life and like dedicating my life to religion or like exploration of spirituality. But at the end of the day, I'm like the actual concept of religion is like strange to me, and like anyone who's super like overly believes in their I don't know. It's just a weird thing to think about. There's like so many things. Like
It's weird, but I also feel like a lot of religions are have those people in them. Like if you think about, I'm not even gonna go there actually. But if you think
what?
about Christian,
No, what?
so
Go there.
I feel as though I've come across
Most
this religion the most where there are a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, I'm Jewish, but what does that actually mean? So I met all of them and I felt like they all were just kind of like, oh yeah, Jewish, but it's more like a culture than a religion.
yeah, yeah,
I feel like the same thing with like some Muslims where it's like, oh yeah, like culturally I'm Muslim,
yeah,
but like it's not really my religion. And maybe some Christians as well, like, yeah, I go to church sometimes, like I go to church on Christmas and Easter, but like you won't see me like I'm not a Bible thumper.
yeah. Whatever that means.
Oh,
What's a Bible dumper?
it's someone who dumps the Bible.
You're like into religious aggro, like fighting culture. Like, sorry, I haven't tapped into that part of Twitter or Instagram or whatever. It's just like weird because I'm like, I don't know. It's just like anything in life. I feel like if you think about it, I'm like, I don't like. I want to opt out. Like anytime I think about anything too hard, I'm like, that's scary. Like literally, whenever I think about the concept that you have to one day, like sometimes in my head, I'm like, one day I might have to be married with kids. Like that idea scares me so much. But then when it happens in your life, it's like natural, and you're like, oh, da da da. But I'm like, you have to pick one person, and who you pick, you will be with for the rest of your life, and they will be your husband. That's so scary. And like religion feels the same way to me because I'm like, or like just whenever I think about that, because I'm like, it is kind of like crazy that like whatever family culture you create will be your family culture, if that makes sense. You know what? Like everything that we believe and how we feel is based off like what our parents created within the culture of our family. So it's like so crazy. It's like this whole new pressure, right? Or not really. I mean, obviously, as you grow up, you start to have different influences, but a lot of your core understanding of things. And then I don't know, like, religion feels like one of those things where you like procrastinate it and you're like, when I'm 50, I'm going to get really religious. Right? I don't know. And like religion, where they're like, these are the rules and you have to follow them. I'm like, yeah, like, I'll follow them later.
Maybe because as you do grow up, you become a bit more conservative. And I don't mean like politics conservative, I mean with the way you dress, how you spend your time, what you like, the type of lifestyle that you want to have. So I'm not quite sure if I agree, but I do know that there's a link to becoming older and becoming more religious. And also sometimes it's when you are like in your 80s or 90s and you're kind of facing your deathbed. So then they're also turning to religion because they're like, what is after this? You know, and they start questioning that as opposed to being in your 20s where you're like, oh, you only live once, you're young and you do what you want to do. So I do think, yeah, but I don't know. I think for me personally, I have started to become a bit more. I've been on Muslim Twitter a bit more. I think just naturally. I'm also on baking Twitter.
Your brain is so Twitter. Like, literally, I've been on Muslim Twitter more, and it's influencing me to become a Muslim. No, I do think that, I mean, I feel like day to day, I feel like I have a religious practice. It's just not a practice that, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the way I live my life feels very religious, if that makes sense. What, does that sound stupid? But I just mean like my journey, my internal journey feels very like spiritually based. So I'm like, I do feel compelled, but then I don't want to be like, you have to follow these rules in order to feel like a good person, because then you're falling into just doing what you've been told to feel like a good person instead of, right? That's what annoys me about it. That's kind of like why I think my parents didn't like going to the mosque, because you'd go to the mosque and they'd be like, you paint your nails, you're gonna go to hell. Or like even within Christianity where people say if you believe something different to me, you're gonna go to hell, whatever. I'm like, it's very shame based, it's judgment based, it's telling you if you do these things you're a good person, if you do these things you're a bad person, which like good and bad does exist in the world, and that is true. Like, okay, if you lie, cheat, steal, you're a bad person. You're a good person if you do this, whatever. But I just feel like life is more complex and nuanced, and like sometimes when like it's just so, I don't know, I don't want things to feel like it's out of shame. It should be out of like passion for the path that you're on, and love, exactly, instead of like shame and judgment, like, oh, I'm gonna do what I'm told because that's what makes me feel like I'm being good, right? Like my parents tell me to do this, my religion tells me to do this, I'm gonna do it, okay, I'm good. But it's like, at what point are you just like being safe and being not like, you know, I don't know. I want to be limited or boxed in by what someone else tells me. I just want to learn through my own life experience and let God find me, and like, build my own relationship with God and my sense of spirituality and my connection with the world around me, instead of being like told someone else's experience. Like, I think everyone in their own life has their moments where they have like their connection with God. Like, there's been so many like conversations that each person will have with God between them and themselves. And you get to, like, again, it's like a journey, it's a personal journey. And I just feel like when other people try to force you to like feel or see things the way that they do, even if it's like out of their experience, it's just not the same as like allowing yourself to experience life and like find out for yourself what you believe.
I think genuinely at the end of the day, God, Allah, like whoever, they only care about if you like gave back to the world in whatever way. And that could be something as small as smiling at strangers or helping a grandma across the road, you know?
It just made me think of this reel where it was like the girl that bullied me in high school posting a reel on Instagram, and it was like, sometimes you just have to smile at a stranger, and it was like fun. But no, you're totally right. Like, just bring, so your intention, do you think it's like,
Good intentions.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
to
exactly.
bring more, like, yeah.
Yeah, and if you have good intentions and you are a good spirited person, I don't think God is going to look at you on Judgment Day and say, "Oh, you didn't, I don't know, pray 5 times a day, or maybe you prayed once or twice a day, but you missed these prayers." I would say that God would care more about your intentions as opposed to someone who was praying 5 times a day, but they were cheating on their wife, or they were like hooking up with prostitutes or sex workers, sorry, and they were, I don't know, like spitting on the homeless. Like, what's the point of praying 5 times a day if you're doing all of that?
So that's, but I think, yeah, I agree. I feel like that's kind of my parents' take, was they were like, you go to the mosque and then there's people, and which I don't think this is true, but like, or any like religious organization, and there's this pastor or this imam or whatever, this person that stands there and acts super self-righteous and all-knowing, but at the end of the day, they like steal money from people and they do all this stuff and they don't actually care. They're just like self-righteous about their goodness and whatever. And I feel like my parents experienced a lot of that in like religious spaces, and that's why they wanted to like take us away from that, because they didn't want us to be in a space where people are like using religion as a form of control, or like using religion as a form of like having you conform to what they, because it can be used that way, and it has been misused and abused in that way. And then I also think the thing I don't like about it is like kind of when you were saying Judgment Day, I thought about, I'm like, religion is taught in such like human terms, and it's just like makes things silly to me. Like people are like, you're going to heaven, you're going to hell, and like God is this like, everyone like growing up, I'd have this envisionment of God as like this man with a beard and da-da. And I'm like, I just think the world we live in is so much more abstract, and like I just don't think there's like a judgment day. I'm sorry, I just don't believe that. But I feel like it's like maybe we as humans try to understand our experience and understand our place in this very like unknown, uncertain life, that we just don't know what's going on. We just exist and we're not aware of what's happening, and we have very limited answers and understanding. And I think our way of trying to understand that is by like writing a human story about what is going to happen or whatever. You can have these insights, and I do believe there is a connection with a higher self and a higher being. Like I believe in all of that, but I just don't like the, don't put it in like human form where you get good points for this and bad points for this, and then a judgment day comes and you either go to heaven or go to hell. Like I just think it's like a more abstract thing, if that makes sense. Like I think it's an abstract thing, and I think sometimes like what makes it silly is hearing people describe it in such human terms, and I'm like, you truly believe like in a literal sense that this is what's happening? Like that feels silly to me, because I don't think any of it is literal. I think it's all. And I remember watching this documentary where it was like a scientist or whatever, and he had like a near death experience, and he was like explaining the experience, and he was saying like he felt like love and light and whatever. It's really interesting to watch people talk about their death experiences where they die and come back to life, or near death experiences and stuff. And he was talking about like his whatever he felt. And I remember at some point in my life I was like, I feel like most religions all preach similar things, like, about like keeping your soul pure or whatever by like taking pure actions, and like, don't lie, don't cheat, don't do this, da, da, da. It's all giving you these boundaries to kind of like keep your soul pure, I think, is like how I see it. And I feel like the purpose of that is not because like you're going to be judged, or oh God hates people or whatever. It's because these things, it's trying to protect you from these things that cloud your judgment and that like change you, and that move, like they remove you from yourself. Like in Muslim like religion, we're not supposed to drink, we're not supposed to do drugs, you're not supposed to like like whatever, celibacy and whatever, all these things. And as I get older, I recognize like those are things that pull you apart from yourself, and people struggle with addictions and people use them to cope. And so the religion isn't trying to like put you in a place where it's like saying do these things and I'm trying to stop you from having fun and I don't want, it's trying to protect you to where you can stay true to yourself and like remain within yourself, and like not separate from that and like lose yourself. Because I really do think separation from, and like getting too invested in things that are of like the human material world creates a separation of like your soul and your spirit from like its truth, I guess. So it's more about like how they're giving you tools to keep yourself in a place that feels pure, and then your relationship with yourself doesn't suffer. Because if you think about it, when you lie, cheat, or do these like terrible things, who suffers? Yes, the people you inflicted on, but more than anything, your soul internally is suffering from the pain. When you cause pain for the people around you, we are like a collective consciousness, and that pain resides within you. So I feel like hell isn't like you're gonna go burn in a literal burning pit. It's like hell. Think about it. Think about the moments in your life where you felt like you were in hell because your mental scape was like so, right. Like it feels like hell when you're going through mental pain from the things that you've done or whatever. So I'm like, but when you're a good person and you have a clear conscience and you're going through life doing good and bringing light and love into the world, you go to sleep at the end of the day and it feels like heaven in your mind, because you, right, like you're creating heaven for yourself. So I just feel like it's more like a mental, like, I'm not saying that heaven and hell are mental states, but I'm saying it's not like a literal heaven and hell. It's like, think about how when you dream, you can create heaven or hell within your mind. And I just feel like it exists in that sense, if that makes sense. Anyways.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's why they say like, "Oh, hell on earth," or that one song like, "Ooh, baby, do you know what it's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth."
Yeah.
So it's like that's true. You can actually either be living like a living hell, or you can be living in paradise. But it's also up to you to decide.
Yeah, and your actions and the type of person that you are and how you show up and what you choose to see and create in the world can do that. But then I don't know, like maybe that's just a very personal perspective on that, because I'm like, do you think people like, you know, that reel that Trump just posted, like you don't think like people that are super rich and that are like going to strip clubs all the time and are like living this super, you don't think they feel like they're in heaven? Like you think they have any guilt or remorse or dirtiness feeling within them? I don't think so. I don't think they hate themselves. I think they're happy as well. So I don't know. Maybe that's my personal perspective because I'm projecting how I would feel. I would feel disgusted with myself.
I think they actually do deep down genuinely hate themselves and have hatred. I think that they push it, they repress it, and I think that they also don't care.
Yeah.
Because for them, they're like, okay, yeah, I hate myself, but I'm rich. Oh, I hate myself, but oh, my wife hates me, but whatever, because I can fuck any woman. You know,
Well, I
I can go to a strip club and get any woman. That's what I think. Like, obviously, I've never talked to someone who's rich and powerful to see if they really hate themselves. But it's literally like what Kanye says, oh, we're all insecure. You know, like we're all insecure. I'm just the first to admit it. Like everybody has issues no matter how much money you have, no matter how much fame you have. It's just about if you're willing to actually look it in the mirror and face it.
I know, but I just think there is a point where you can actually lose yourself. Like I do believe that it's like, well, I don't know actually. Maybe everybody can always be like what's the word? It like starts with a re, but like brought back to themselves, I guess. But I really do think you can lose yourself. Like people lose themselves in drugs all the time. People lose themselves in like any kind of evil kind of addiction can pull you away from yourself, and that does happen to people all the time. And I think that if your life is functional and things are going well, you could like become numb to it to where you don't even like imagine, you know how in Vampire Diaries there's like the thing, I don't know if you got to the seasons where they do that, but they like have so much pain that they can turn it off and they just like feel nothing.
Yeah.
They have that choice to do that. I feel like it's similar in life. Like sometimes maybe you don't even want to face yourself because you know if you have to face yourself, like the amount of work you'd have to do to like forgive yourself and stop being disgusted with yourself. But I'm just thinking of like people that have maybe done things that they are really, really not proud of or were people that whatever. It's like you can either like numb yourself to all that because if you want to truly transform, you kind of have to face it and it's really hard to face, you know?
But that's what repressing is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're repressed. Yeah, so it's still within them. Like they still have all of that guilt,
Yeah,
all of that hatred, all of that sadness. It's just repressed under this mask.
yeah,
So it's still there. It doesn't go away just because they have the money.
yeah.
It's just that, oh, I don't have to think about it. It's so far below the surface that it's just not a thought anymore.
Yeah, like they're so numb to it that it's not, but then it exists within your body, and then that's like what I believe. Like that's what I believe is like the that hell or whatever is like that all like your body stores everything. Your body stores every movement. Your brain stores every thought, every whatever. So like growing up, my dad would always like describe God to us, and like he like literally my favorite conversations growing up were like talking to my dad because he'd always like be super philosophical and like kind of introduce us to these ideas in a way that like didn't feel like I don't want to say structured, but it felt very like open. Like I always felt like my parents, both of them were always like giving us this information, but it was very like open and like exploratory. It never felt like they were like, this is what you do, and if you don't do this, like you're going to hell. It was very like, but anyways, like, and they like in the Quran, like they have all these things for Allah, and it's like he's everywhere all at once. He's like small and big and whatever. He's just like infinite. Basically, it's like trying to describe infinity. It's like he hears every thought. He's everywhere and no load like whatever at once, and it's like this super abstract concept of just like God exists in everything. And that's like even when they talk about like God can hear all your thoughts and like whatever. And I'm like, it's true though, because you within yourself, you always will know. Like if even other people don't see, like you always will know within yourself everything that you've done in your brain and your body and whatever has stored all those things. So I just feel like it like exists. And even if like you said you repress it or numb yourself or to it, my theory is that even when you die, that is what stays within your spirit and your soul and stuff, and like that becomes your legacy and your impact. So you that's like your like what hell is like your actions being brought back onto you or whatever. I don't know. It's fun to look at all the different theories that people have, I guess.
There's a lot of theories.
But I envy people that just believe what they were told to believe, you know? Right?
Blind and ignorant.
No, no,
Um,
no, not blind or ignorant even, but I just mean like I envy people that feel so sure of what they believe. Like when you have a Christian
oh.
that's like I like 100% blind faith and I'm like I envy that. You don't even question it. I feel like I question everything all the time. So,
Or maybe they have questioned it, but you're meeting them at a point where they're just so sure and they know
but
everything.
why are they so sure? Like what made them so sure?
Maybe they just felt it. Maybe there was a bit of like, I don't know. And then they kept moving, kept going, and then they're like, okay, yeah. Something my mom did tell me was that she never really felt right, like as a Muslim.
Yeah.
I feel like it was the religion for her, and she kind of felt like she was just kind of confused and she didn't really learn Arabic. And I think she would pray, but I don't think she would like
Resonate.
actually. Yeah, I don't think it was resonating with her. And then she said when she got introduced to Christianity, that just felt right with her.
And that's
And so
yeah.
yeah, and I'm sure maybe during that transition, she probably felt a little bit of like, I don't know, because I've been Muslim my whole life, and now I'm 36, 37, and I'm like looking to change my religion. But then once she got into that, for her, she's like, yep, this is right. This is where I'm meant to be. And so then it's like, after that, why would she ever question it?
Yeah. No, I know. And it's like, I don't think there should be, I know people think there's a difference, but I just don't. Like, it's whatever, like, pathway you want to take to get yourself to a higher, like, place where you can connect with something bigger than yourself. Like, I don't think it matters how people do it. And I would never judge people for how they do it unless it's like real, like you're harming people or something. But, like, like, I just feel like there's so many different ways to, like, access that energy and why do people I like care so much to inflict it onto other people like I'm right and you're wrong? Like I will never understand that. It's crazy to me.
I think that comes from a place as well of like pride and selfishness. I genuinely don't think it comes from a true place of, oh, I'm spreading the word of God. I think it comes from a I'm Christian and I think this is right. And I think God bestowed it upon me to spread the word of Christianity. Like nothing in that is, oh, about actually God wanting, like choosing, you know? I think that a lot of people are like, yep, I'm the chosen one. It's me. It's me. It's all about me and who I can convert and who will listen to me. I think a lot of it genuinely comes from I, and not a place of like us as a collective and us as a community. Because someone who truly is religious and someone who truly believes in the word of God would know that people have their own path
Yeah.
and people are going to believe what's best for them, and it's not going to be by like knocking on doors and trying to like talk someone to death about a religion
Yeah.
that they might not have any interest in. If someone's showing interest, that's a different story. Like of course please talk their ears off
Yeah.
because maybe you might be what they need to step deeper into that religion. But if you're going to the point where you're like, oh, in London is also, it's actually really crazy in London. There are people screaming outside of Ealing Broadway station and like preaching the word of God, and they're trying to like pass out pamphlets and stuff, and they always have like scary messages as well. Or outside of like abortion clinics too,
Yeah.
like a lot of Christians are like, this is a sin, blah blah blah, and it's like, but what's given you why do you think you have that right to go and do that? Like, how selfish are you? How self-consumed are you to say that this was meant for you to go and do? Because God wouldn't want that, and God doesn't want that.
But maybe they're also like, think of the like satisfaction they would get if you were like there and then they were like, don't do it. And you were like, you're right. And then they're like, oh my God, I actually like saved a baby. Because I was thinking about how, like, maybe just for me, like, I understood everything in like a point system in terms of religion growing up, like, for some reason. Like, I don't know if it's the way, like, it was explained to me or something, but I was like, oh, it's points. We're, like, gathering points, like, good points, bad points. And then, like, in Muslim culture, it's like, oh, every good thing counts for, like, 10 times the points of a bad thing. Like, a bad thing is 1 point, but a good thing is, like, 10 or, like, 100. So you're, like, always, like, a step ahead. Then a conversion is, like, so many points. Like, I'm like, oh my God. Probably like I got a convert. That's like a million. That's like the cheat code in Grand Theft Auto. Like I'm just like I don't know why I thought of it like that. Like always, you're gonna get some them.
Still, that's about that person then. It's about how many points can I get?
Exactly. Like imagine how good it would feel if like that friend that I had that like really wanted to convert our friend group, we all actually were like, "You're right, I need Jesus." She'd be like, "I did that." Like and then she's like God, she would feel good forever cuz she'd be like God will always like like I brought his children back to him or whatever, but I'm like at the end of the day it is you're just trying to like you're just schmoozing. You're just kissing ass, really. You're just trying to schmooze. You think God's gonna like you more because you converted people? You think extra points for that? I'm sick of this point system. I'm opting out. I'm just kidding.
An interesting thing I read, and the book is really good. I don't remember the name of it right now, but they're a medium, and they actually I think they grew up in London and everything. It was really cool because they were able to like hold an apple in their hand
Yeah.
and then close their eyes, and they could energetically tell that what they were holding was something red, and they would like train for that and help other people train, blah blah blah. And I thought that was really cool. But this specific person was like a very powerful medium, and he was like, I'm answering all the questions you guys may have that you wouldn't be answered anywhere else. And someone asked about people who commit suicide
Mm.
because religion says if you commit suicide, you are going to hell. And
Stop.
which is so messed up. And he was like, that's not true. That's not the case. I've spoken to people who have committed suicide, and like God has made those people workers. Sorry. Not workers. I can't remember the exact word.
Put them on the payroll. God makes them work the minimum wage jobs nobody else wants. Undocumented women can work for the rest citizenship in heaven, but it just takes longer. What me right now?
Oh, so if someone had like killed themselves because they felt like useless and worthless, God will give them a role. Yeah, actually, I've never explained it out loud. It sounds really good when you read the book. Maybe I.
God gives them this job so they feel worthy of having one.
They give them a role where it's like, oh, you're important. We need you because maybe that was their life purpose or part of their soul's purpose on earth is to realize that they mattered and that they had value, but they killed themselves before they were able to get to that point. God is like, I'm going to give you this. Your soul has this purpose now. So maybe it's like helping with assigning like parents to like new souls and things like that. You know?
Like, what a job. You're on assignment. Wait, what if you killed yourself because you're like tired of work? Like, what if you literally you're like, I'm sick of having to work. This is too much pressure. I just want to be able to relax. I'm gonna kill myself. You reawaken, and God's like, you're hired. You get to work every single day of your life so that you have purpose. And you're like, can I kill myself again? When you kill yourself and you are reestablished in this new realm, are you allowed to do it again or no?
Do what again? Live?
Kill yourself again. Like, how do you opt out of the second realm? Like, I'm not trying to die and then come back to consciousness in another realm. I'm trying like and fiend. That's like an exhausting thought. Like to think that like imagine you're 85, you're 110, and you're like that real I sent you where she's like, sometimes I want to die so bad, I just don't. Like you're 110, you've lived the most incredible life. You're like, I love it, and I'm like, thank you God, you've blessed me with this, and I really like, yeah, like life is beautiful, all these things. But you know, you're 110, and then you die, and you like have to like go to Judgment Day and like get a lawyer and like work to prove yourself, and then even when you get to heaven, they're like, we've assigned you work because of like it's just like painful. It sounds painful.
I don't think everyone gets assigned a job. I think it was just no.
That's all I'm saying because you don't have to work for minimum wage, and you don't even get to heaven. It takes 15 years.
Yeah.
So
I'll link I'll link the book.
that makes sense. Like people that kill themselves, killing yourself is kind of like a crazy thing, but it's like I think I had this weird like realization in life where I'm like, it feels really powerful to know that you like can change your path. Like once I realized I'm like, I can just like not do that, or I can do that. I was like, that is so maybe like people that kill themselves too, it's kind of like a you don't get to that's crazy. That's like such a crazy thing to do. Anyways, we don't need to talk about it, but that's like
Because then it goes back to our fate versus free will. Did God know? Like, was it kind of always part of your story then to
no, because that no, it's like you are choosing to use your small amount of free will to go against the will of God.
but I thought God knew everything.
No, here's the thing about God. He
Okay.
knows everything, but he doesn't like know for real. No, I'm kidding. That's all. Those are the questions like we'd ask my parents growing up. Like, we're like, if he knows everything, then wouldn't he know? But the thing is, it's like, and also, why
Ask him.
God is a woman. Yeah, you're right. Chat knows. Be like, does God know everything? Is God watching me? Is he like Santa Claus? He knows when you've been good and bad. That's the
God.
thing. I'm like, or okay, not to be totally controversial, but is religion a societal cultural concept that was created more based off society and cultural ideals rather than a true investigation of like whatever. But then when I do believe in like prophets and stuff. I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like life is a trip, and I'm like, so like I'm like, it's tiring to try to figure it out. It's so much better to just like do it and then just be dumb and just be like, I don't care, I don't care, I don't want to think about it. You know, it's like people that are like, I can't think about space because they get overwhelmed. That's a first date question. Are you capable of thinking about space, or do you ignore it? Because there's a type of person that like doesn't think about it because they're scared. I'm like, that's you know.
Yeah.
One of my friend's boyfriends during college was like that. And I was like, that you should dump him for sure. You want a man that thinks about space or
Absolutely.
has the emotional control of it. Okay, wait, so what'd you ask chat? Does God know everything?
I said, does God know when you are going to kill yourself? And then I just said, wait,
Like, you're violating the term. Keep this off the memory, but okay. I can't ask chat that. The police will show up on my door. There's been too many like minor inconvenience. Should I do that? I'm just kidding. What did it say?
so basically, if humans, and I asked fate versus free will, um, I mean, there's really no answer.
How
God knows. God may know all possibilities, but doesn't interfere, allowing people to change their course at any time. That's what free will, fate versus predestination. Some believe that everything is predetermined, including suicide. This view suggests that what happens was always meant to happen.
I think that's really stupid because think about because that's what I'm saying. That's like when if it, like as a person though I have the ability to make a choice. Like right now, I could just like all of a sudden like do whatever. So I feel like you are given free choice. I just don't think it's free. I think that there's things in life that are predestined for you and you align with the path that's, you know what I mean?
Sorry, it's moving.
I
It's
know
moving
why
a lot.
you're doing that.
But this is the middle ground. It says some perspectives argue that God knows all possible futures but allows humans to shape their destinies. Others suggest divine knowledge is not linear, like human understanding of time, meaning that God's knowledge of the future doesn't override our ability to choose. So, I guess kind of similar to what you're saying. So, God knows every single possibility and every single outcome and all the futures of what you could choose. But you have the choice to choose to
It,
not be on this earth anymore. But God doesn't know that you're going to choose that one, but God knows what the outcome of your choice will be.
Yeah, I believe that. Like that's what I believed. I believe that, and I know we talked about this in the Fate and Free Will, but it's like I think that there's different timelines. It's kind of like the whole physics parallel universe thing. It's like there's so many, like right now from this point, like I am like a molecule, one molecule, and I exist in infinity outside of this. As time is moving, I can be an infinite amount of possibilities, but whatever you fixate on and choose becomes the reality, becomes the alignment of your current self. I don't know if there's like multiple selves or whatever, all that other stuff, but all I know is like there's infinite possibility, and within each possibilities there are predestined things like that will, like a door that will open for you easily and a door that will never open no matter how long you stay knocking at it. Like I believe in that. Like there are things that are meant for you and things that just will never happen for you. Like that's just life, but you still get to choose what possibility you're aligning with, what version of yourself you're aligning with. And I think God being all knowing is more like, I don't know actually. I just like don't know what that means, like being all knowing, but I don't think it's that you have a lack of choice and that all your choices are known. Like I think we have the a small sliver of choice. Cuz if you think about it, the amount of power you have is great to control your path, but it's still very limited. There's still so many things that are outside of your control. You could choose to do this thing and keep choosing to do this thing, and it could never work out. You know what I mean? Because it's not meant for you. So it's like you will have choice, but there will still be limitations and things outside of that that is like you're still always interact. It's co-creation. Like this is the same conclusion we came to in the last combo, but I really do believe it's just co-creation. It's like there are so many outside. You're still always engaging with your environment, and there's still so many limitations within what you're capable of choosing. And like, yeah, any of us can choose to kill ourselves or kill another human or do whatever, blah blah blah, whatever. Like those are everybody has that power. Like right now, to just break all the rules and do whatever. But
So, do you think that if someone chooses to kill another person, did God know? Because then that was the end of their time. And I do think, actually, here's what I believe. We have soul contracts. So we all know when we're going to, like, our souls actually know when we're going to die. It's our soul contract. So if someone was like abruptly murdered, but then also my friend once told me, and she's very spiritual, Tony, she said that like dying in your sleep, peaceful death, it's like, yep, that was your soul being like, that's in my soul contract, but like abrupt murders, like maybe just like on the street, someone's like killing you or like a mass shooting, then that wasn't in, she doesn't believe that that was in your like soul contract because of how abrupt it was and how it was like totally unexpected. But then one could also say that like people in like plane crashes or like mass shootings, all of their souls had a soul contract to where their time on this earth ended at that exact moment.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know. But I do see that. I think it is like an interesting thing because it is kind of like, yeah, when stuff like that happens, like it's like out of your control and it's out of everyone's control. You would like, yeah, it's like those people didn't get to choose that that was going to be the end for them, but it was. But I also think that, like, when other people are, like you said, abrupt murders and stuff, that's like cancer. That's like you are, I don't know. Yeah, it is really hard because it's easy to have that, like, really positive kind of mindset when you're thinking about beautiful things that happen in life. But when you think about really difficult things that happen in life, it's hard to like resonate as much with that because it's kind of like, yeah, it is hard to say like, oh, you were just meant to die then or whatever. I watched this reel actually. It's like it's crazy because I feel like most people want to avoid the concept or like the topic of death because it is really heavy. But like for me, I find it kind of interesting just because it's like so unknown. What's behind you? What?
Um, Danielle was calling, his mom was calling me, but we're back.
Oh, were you still at Danielle's house or his parents' house?
We got here today. Sorry, let's keep going because I have to leave in like we break fast in like 9 minutes.
Oh
So
my god. Okay, go break fast. I mean, that's it. It's just like we will do a part 2 where we maybe dive into the topic a little bit more, but it's fun to just speculate and like ponder these things that honestly we will never have an answer for because no one will ever know unless they kill someone and then they record or like why haven't they recorded like the brainwaves of someone who's dead? It's just like nothingness because you leave your body. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know. No, it is weird. Oh, okay, sorry. The last thing I was gonna say was that I saw a reel about when it was a guy interviewing a woman and she had her daughter pass, and he was like, "Sorry if this is hard, but do you want to talk about it?" And she was like, "Yeah." And she was talking about like how it completely transformed her life because she was like seeing like her being in her body and then just not being in her physical body like changed my entire perspective of life. And I'm like, yeah, that is so crazy because it's like your body and you're here and then you're just not here and it's like what does that mean, but it gets you to it helps even that show we watched Upload where it talks about consciousness. I'm like I love that concept because it is the truth. It's like what truly embodies you, what makes you who you are. It's not your body because when you die you just don't exist in it anymore. So what is that essence, what is that? It is your soul, it is your given thing. It's crazy.
yeah, there's a picture I really like, but it's basically saying your body is just a vessel.
Yeah, it is, and it is. It's like you can feel that it is just a vessel of you experiencing this human life. And like I just see to me that's what I meant earlier where I was like I feel like the way I live life is religious because I'm like I feel so aware of that concept to where sometimes I'm like it's abnormal. Like I need to go to a psychologist because like sometimes I'm at work and I feel like outside of myself. Like I'll be doing something and I'm like I exist. That's crazy. Like I feel the feeling of like recognizing that you were like existing within a body that is like not necessarily outside of yourself, but that exists that is like just temporary. It's just like so strange. I just feel like once you tap into that type of like understanding, it is really like life feels crazy. Everything is crazy. Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, very good side topic we had here. I feel like we'd have to cut out so much.
Yeah, we're gonna cut out
That's
quite a bit. You guys won't know what has been cut out, but this was a impromptu session. We were just talking. So if it feels a bit like, where's the intro? Where's anything else? We'll probably add that in. But we were just talking, and I was like, wait, this is perfect for our podcast. So let's record. And that's what we did. But thank you guys again for another great episode. We're gonna do a part 2 because this one is kind of a bit short. But we love you guys. Lou.
okay, go break fast. Bye.